Friends, in my talks, I am not going to weave an intellectual theory. I am going to speak of my own experience, which is not born of intellectual ideas, but which is real. Please do not think of me as a philosopher expounding a new set of ideas with which your intellect can judge. That is not what I want to offer you. Rather, I should like to explain that truth, the life of fullness and richness, cannot be realized through any person, through imitation, or through any form of authority. Most of us feel occasionally that there is a true life, an eternal something, but the moments in which we feel that are so rare that this eternal something recedes more and more into the background and seems to us less and less a reality. Now, to me, there is reality. There is an eternal living reality. Call it God, immortality, eternity, or what you will. There is something living, creative, which cannot be described because reality eludes all description. No description of truth can be lasting, for it can only be an illusion of words. You cannot know of love through the description of another. To know love, you yourself must have experienced it. You cannot know the taste of salt until you have tasted salt for yourself. Yet, we spend our time looking for a description of truth instead of trying to find out the manner of its realization. I say that I cannot describe, I cannot put into words that living reality which is beyond all idea of progress, all idea of growth. Beware of the man who tries to describe that living reality, for it cannot be described. It must be experienced, lived. This realization of truth, of the eternal, is not in the movement of time, which is but a habit of the mind. When you say that you will realize it in the course of time, that is, in some future, then you are only postponing that comprehension, which must ever be in the present. But if the mind understands the completeness of life and is free from the division of time into the past, present, and future, then there comes the realization of that living, eternal reality. But since all minds are caught up in the division of time, since they think of time as past, present, and future, there arises conflict. Again, because we have divided action into the past, present, and future, because to us action is not complete in itself, but is rather something propelled by motives, by fear, by guides, by reward or punishment, our minds are incapable of understanding the continuous whole. Only when the mind is free of the division of time can true action result. When action is born of completeness, not in the division of time, then that action is harmonious and is freed from the trammels of society, classes, races, religions, and acquisitiveness. To put it differently, action must become truly individual. Now, I am not using that word individual in the sense of placing the individual against the many. By individual action, I mean action that is born of complete comprehension, complete understanding by the individual, and understanding not imposed by others. Where that understanding exists, there is true individuality, true aloneness, not the aloneness of escape into solitude, but the aloneness that is born of the full comprehension of the experiences of life. For the completeness of action, the mind must be free of this idea of time as yesterday, today, and tomorrow. If the mind is not liberated from that division, then conflict arises and leads to suffering and to the search for escapes from that suffering. I say that there is a living reality, an immortality, an eternity that cannot be described. It can be understood only in the fullness of your own individual action, not as a part of a structure, not as a part of a social, political, or religious machine. Therefore, you must experience true individuality before you can understand what is true. As long as you do not act from that eternal source, there must be conflict, there must be division, and continual strife. Now, each of us knows conflict, struggle, sorrow, lack of harmony. These are the elements that largely make up our lives. And from them, we try consciously or unconsciously to escape. But few know for themselves the cause of conflict. Intellectually, they may know the cause, but that knowledge is merely superficial. To know the cause is to be aware of it with both mind and heart. Since few are aware of the deep cause of their suffering, they feel that desire to escape from the suffering. And this desire for escape has created and vitalized our moral, social, and religious systems. Here, I have not time to go into details, but if you will think the matter over, you will see that our religious systems throughout the world are based on this idea of postponement and evasion, this searching for mediators and comforters. Because we are not responsible for our own acts, because we are seeking escape from our suffering, we create systems and authorities which will give us comfort and shelter.